The topic we're going to cover today is how to multiply and divide rational expressions. Now, it's a little bit of a misnomer that we talk about multiplying and dividing because that's actually going to be what we're not going to do. Even though the operation that's involved is multiplication or division, what we really want to do is along the lines of what we did or yesterday, which is to simplify as much as possible. The only thing that the only way multiplication and division come into effect is that when we put our final answer together, it will be via multiplication or division. So what do we think we want to do here? Well, we want to factor each numerator, if possible. Two, we want to factor each denominator, if possible. We want to cancel common factors as long as one is in the numerator and the other is in the denominator. Okay? They don't have to be in the same fraction. Usually they aren't, because then I'm just simplifying that fraction. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to combine the results into one fraction. Do not need to multiply the binomials or trinomials. Now, if you do, it's not incorrect, but if you multiply incorrectly, then you're going to lose credit. Last thing, make sure answer is in simplest form. Now, similar to what we did yesterday, we have the concept of excluded values, and that's any value that makes either fraction's denominator equal to 0. And again, this is before simplifying. So all of this is, when you're doing your excluded values, it's all before you've done canceling, etc. Okay? All right. Now, let's talk about what we're going to do here via examples. So I want to multiply 2x squared over 5y times 10y cubed over 5x squared. Now, you could actually do the multiplication for something like this and then simplify, but it's much easier to cancel what's in common. So 5 and 10 become 1 and 2. X squareds completely cancel, and y cubed cancel to y squared. What's important is you've got to be able to see what it is you've actually done here. All right? So I have a 2 and a 2 for y squared, and everything in the denominator cancels, so it's a 5. What are my excluded values? Just 0. Okay? And then you look and see that 4y squared over 5 cannot be simplified. Right? Now we get into what we're focusing on. I factor using dots. I factor using I am. I can't factor. Remember, put parentheses around the binomials to stop you from making mistakes. and cross and canceling parts. And I'm sorry, that's an 8, not a 4. Now I look at what I can cancel out. And I'm sorry, this should be an 8. And that should be an 8. Hopefully you're all yelling at the screen. So I cancel x minus 8, x minus 8, x plus 4, x plus 4. What am I left with? X plus 8 over 2 x plus 3. And this is where I'm talking about. You don't need to multiply. You don't need to make this 2x plus 6. If you do, it's fine. But if you make a mistake and wrote 2x plus 3, you've now lost credit. What are my excluded values? Well, there's a bunch of them. Negative 3 for here. Negative 4 for this one. And 8 for this one. Okay? Let's turn to the back. And let's do our simplification. All right? The first one, hopefully you're realizing that this is the numerator, so it's like it's over 1. Do you need to write that? No. 2m plus 5 cannot be simplified. 3 becomes m minus 2 times m minus 2 times m plus 3. The m minus 2's cancel, and so I'm left with 2m plus 5 times m plus 3 over 3. Okay? No need to FOIL out the 2m plus 5, m plus 3. Excluded values, only the 2, because that's my only denominator. All right, let's just keep going. X minus 3, x plus 3, 3, x minus 3, 6, x minus 2, and x plus 3. Now, one of the other things is you should be looking. There are clues when you do your factoring, because if you do all of this and there's nothing to cancel, then you're doing something wrong. All right? We're not sadistic enough to have you do all of this and not have anything to cancel. X minus 3s, x plus 3s. 3 goes into 6 2 times. So what are you left with? 2, x minus 2. And your 2 excluded values are 3 and negative 3. Now, division. The only thing with division is, you remember your rules of keep, change, flip. So all you're going to do is flip this first. So this would become x squared minus 36 over x plus 5 when it turns to multiplication. So what do I have? X plus 5, x plus 2 over x minus 6 times x minus 6, x plus 6 over x plus 5. Now I start my canceling. And I'm left with x plus 2, x plus 6, and my excluded values are 6 and negative 5. Similarly, in this one, it's going to be times x squared minus 1 over 2 minus x. So I get 4 x minus 2 over x plus 4, x plus 1, x minus 1, x plus 1, and 2 minus x we can't factor. What do I cancel? The x plus 1s. The 2 minus x and x minus 2 cancel with a negative. So I'm going to be a minus 4 x minus 1 over x plus 4. My excluded values are negative 4, negative 1, and a positive 2. Okay. Last two examples. Back to multiplication, so we don't need to flip anything. X minus 3, x plus 2. So you'll see what's important here is to become fluid in your factoring, which is why we said that was such an important lesson, or lesson, I should say. All right, now I do my canceling. The 3's go. The plus 2 goes. The plus 3 goes. So I'm just left with x plus 4 over x plus 2. Remember, I'm writing these in parentheses so that you see you can't cancel the pieces. You can't cancel x's and say 2 divides into 4. That does not work. Excluded values, 3, negative 2. And then our last one, it's going to be x plus 4, x minus 1, 5, x minus 1, 10x, x minus 4, and finally x minus 4, x plus 4. I've got a lot of canceling going on. And actually, after all of this, I'm just left with 2x, and my excluded values are 1, negative 4, and a positive 4. Okay? So, this lesson is very similar to what we did yesterday in that we're factoring and simplifying. The only difference is that now we have multiplication or division happening, so that we're doing a lot more simplifying than we did yesterday, but conceptually everything is the same.